Well, looky there. Genesis 1:1. Read it with me. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Well, you all know that. That you memorized at the very beginning of second grade. And notice what's at the beginning, the very first thing that God did as he wrote the Bible for you in the story of creation. He, as a master storyteller, thought it would be very important to have an adverbial prepositional phrase opening with emphasis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So you have a lovely prepositional phrase saying when he created it and used at the beginning with power. So, since you know that God likes to use them, let's practice using them too. Please open to your workbook, page 100. And I want us to just take a look and do something a little wacky here on this page. This is the introductory practice page. I want you to look at this A sentence. After the chores, Dad might take all the neighbor kids for ice cream. I want you to take a moment and find 3 nouns in that sentence. There are at least 3. There are actually 4. I want you to find 4 nouns in that sentence. A noun names a person, place, thing, or idea. What's one of the ones that you found at the very beginning? After the chores. Well, chores names a thing. Chores is a noun. What's the next one? Yep, Dad. He definitely is a person. May take all the neighbor kids. Kids are people too. Anything else that is a person, place, or thing? Ice cream. We have 4 nouns in this sentence, and I want you to watch what happens next. Let's analyze this sentence together. Read it with me. After the chores, Dad might take all the neighbor kids for ice cream. Order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases in this sentence? There's one thing that gives you a very big clue. I want you to see this comma right here. That tells you this is probably a prepositional phrase. After the chores is a prepositional phrase. Please mark that right now. After is the preposition. After what? Chores. Object of the preposition. Which chores? The chores. Adjective, because it modifies the noun. Are there any other prepositional phrases in this sentence? Yes, there is. For ice cream is a prepositional phrase. If you're not sure, take out the for. Dad might take all the neighbor kids' ice cream. It falls apart. So you need this preposition to be the connector piece to hold the other parts of the sentence together. For, preposition. For what? Ice cream. Object of the preposition. Notice so far, this noun is an object of the preposition. This noun is an object of the preposition. All objects of the preposition are either going to be a noun or a pronoun, so we know that works. Let's find out what else we can do. Please begin again to find our principal elements and modifiers. Go. After the chores, say it out loud, Dad might take all the neighbor kids for ice cream. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about Dad, so Dad is the subject. This sentence tells us that Dad might take, so might take is the predicate. Take is the predicate verb because it shows action. Might is the helping verb because it helps the verb. Might take whom? Kids. Direct object, because it receives the action of the verb. Which kind of kids? Neighbor kids. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Do you see that's a noun? We highlighted it. It's a direct object, it's a noun. Which kids? The kids. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Which kids? How many kids? All kids. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Are we done? No, we're not done. Because we haven't said what these things, these are modifiers. They are prepositional phrase modifiers, but they are going to modify something, and we cannot leave this sentence until they are accounted for. So let's go back to after the chores. Dad might take. When might he take? Might take when. After the chores is an adverbial element because it modifies the verb, and it is a prepositional phrase. Now we have to deal with our other prepositional phrase. Might take why or where. For ice cream is an adverbial element because it modifies the verb, and it is a prepositional phrase. Is there anything else in our sentence that we haven't taken care of? No, we got it. Excellent. So I want you to notice, students, that we have all of our nouns are acting. We have a subject acting as a noun, our noun acting as a subject of the sentence. The direct object has to be a noun or a pronoun, and objects of the preposition have to be nouns or pronouns. That helps you know whether you've got the right labeling or not. Because if you're trying to make something an object of the pronoun that is really not a noun, like if it were pink, then pink, it can't be an object of the preposition. Let's see if that plays out and works for the next one. I want you to do B. I'm going to read it with you. Along the wall, comma, that should tell you something. Along the wall, the neighbors watched for them. I want you to pause the video now and analyze letter B. Welcome back. All right, I'm going to do the same thing we did with A. We're going to find the nouns. Now, you've already labeled yours. I want you to show me the nouns or pronouns in the sentence. Remember, a pronoun takes the place of a noun in a sentence. Subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, you, all, they. Object pronouns are, yeah, you know what they are. I'm not going to tell you. Along the wall. Wall is a noun. Neighbors, those are people. Them, that's an object pronoun. All right, let's see what happens when we analyze. Begin. Along the wall, the neighbors watched for them. Order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases in this sentence? Yes. Along the wall is a prepositional phrase. Along, preposition. Along what? Wall, object of the preposition. Which wall? The wall. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Are there any other prepositional phrases in this sentence? The neighbors watched for them. For them, prepositional phrase. For, preposition. For whom? Them. Object of a preposition. Notice we have objects of prepositions as nouns or pronouns. That's a good thing. Yay, thumbs up. Now we go to our principal elements and modifiers. Along the wall, the neighbors watched for them. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about neighbors. So neighbors is the subject. Notice that's also a noun. What is being said about neighbors? Neighbors watched. So watched is the predicate. It is the predicate verb because it shows action. Oops, I keep forgetting to say there are no linking verbs because predicate verbs do not use linking verbs. Which neighbors? The neighbors. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Are we done? No, we're not done. We have to deal with our prepositional phrases. They are now modifiers. So we're going to find out what they modify. Watched where? Along the wall is an adverbial phrase, and it is a preposition because it modifies the verb. Well, it's an adverbial phrase because it modifies verbs. Watched where for them is an adverbial element because it modifies the verb. And it is a prepositional phrase. You should have that marked like that. Excellent. Let's take a look at C and mark our nouns and pronouns. You don't have to mark them. I just want you to notice them with me. Behind the garage, the boys stored the tools. Where are your nouns? What's the first one? Yes, garage. That's a place. What's the next one? Behind the garage, the boys is a noun. Those are people. What's the next noun? Person, place, or thing? Tools. All right, I'm marking them so that we can notice where they fall in the function of the sentence. Pause the video and do letter C. All right, let's do it together. Behind the garage, the boys stored the tools. Order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal, elements, and modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases in this sentence? Let me hear you. What's the first one? Yes, behind the garage. Prepositional phrase, behind. Preposition, behind what? Garage, object of the preposition. Which garage? The garage. Adjective, because it modifies the noun. Are there any other prepositional phrases in this sentence? The boys stored the tools. No. Begin again. Behind the garage, say it out loud, the boys stored the tools. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about boys, so boys is the subject. This sentence tells us that boys stored, so stored is the predicate. It is the predicate verb because it shows action. There are no linking verbs because predicate verbs do not use linking verbs. Stored what? Tools, direct object because it receives the action of the verb. Which tools? The tools. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Are we finished? No, we have to go back and deal with all these words over here. Which boys? The boys is an adjective because it modifies the noun. Now deal with the whole phrase. Behind the garage, stored where? Behind the garage. Your line must come from the preposition. This is an adverbial element because it modifies the verb and it is a prepositional phrase. Make sure yours looks like mine. Let's look at letter D. Into the minivan, Dad loaded 5 hungry children. Ooh, I wonder where he's gonna take them. Find your nouns. First noun is minivan, yes. Second noun? Yep, Dad, he's a noun. Next noun, any more? Children, they are people. 3 nouns. All right, I'm gonna have you pause the video and analyze letter D. Let's check your work. Into the minivan, Dad loaded 5 hungry children. Order of analysis, phrases, clauses, principal, elements, then modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases in this sentence? Yes. Into the minivan. Prepositional phrase. Into, preposition. Into what? Minivan, object of the preposition. Which minivan? The minivan. Adjective, because it modifies the noun. Are there any other prepositional phrases? Dad loaded 5 hungry children. No more prepositions, that's all straight. Here we go. Into the minivan, you say it, Dad loaded 5 hungry children. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about Dad, so Dad is the subject. This sentence tells us that Dad loaded, so loaded is the predicate. It is the predicate verb because it shows action. There are no linking verbs because predicate verbs do not use linking verbs. Loaded what? Children. Direct object because it receives the action of the verb. Which children? Hungry children. What kind of children, you could say? What kind of children? Hungry children. How many children? 5. So as both are adjectives because they modify the noun. Are we done? Nope, we haven't dealt with our prepositional phrase. Loaded where? Into the minivan is an adverbial element because it modifies the verb. It is a prepositional phrase. All is marked. Yay! Your job is to check your spelling. You're going to go back to the song about preposition. What is a preposition? The preposition. A preposition is a part of speech used to show the relationship. You're going to re-spell that entire definition again and make sure it's spelled correctly based on your chant and your song that you have at the beginning of this chapter. And then I want you to move on. You can either pause and do that now, or you can do it after you click this video off. When you move to page 101, you are going to imagine that you're going for ice cream, yum, with your friends after doing chores. And with that in mind, you're going to complete the phrase for each preposition listed, and then write a sentence that includes an introductory prepositional phrase. Now you get to start practicing starting with the prepositional phrase and putting a comma before you in the rest of the sentence. For here, over, they would have put maybe the railroad tracks as their idea, and then they would capitalize over. Notice they have over the railroad tracks, comma, the van wheels rumbled. You're going to come up with what to say. I'm going to give you the very beginning. Look at A. I'm going to give you the ice cream parlor. Please write that in your workbook before you turn off this video. Spell it like mine. You are going to use at the ice cream parlor to start your sentence. You will start with a capital A. I want you to triple underline that now. And then I want you to put a comma after parlor. That will be the correct way to start a sentence with a prepositional phrase. At the ice cream parlor, comma, and then you come up with what happens at the ice cream parlor with your friends. That whole sentence with your introductory and your rest that you create is going to go right here, and you will end with a period. I want to know what you have to say. For B, you are going to use the word bites. Between bites, and then you come up with the rest of it. You're going to capitalize the B, put a comma here, between bites, and you're going to write that here. Between bites, comma, and then tell me what happened in the end of the sentence and put a period. So where it says sentence, you will have a complete sentence with your introductory prepositional phrase at the front. All right, I want you to take a picture of both of those pages when they are complete and send them to me so that I can rejoice and do the happy dance over your hard work. Yay!